Okay, sorry. Now I'm audible, everyone. Now, whether I'm audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Uh, for how much time I have mute myself? So once again, can I repeat the Buckingham Pi theorem, or from starting I have to explain?
Sir, from starting.
Okay, okay, no issue, no issue. So in the last lecture, we have discussed about the Rayleigh's method, which is used for analysis of to perform the dimensional analysis. But there are some drawbacks about that particular method, that this method is not giving any hint about the dimensionless numbers, how many dimensionless numbers are included in that particular phenomena. Okay, how many dimensionless numbers are included in that particular phenomena. So that information is not provided by the Rayleigh's method. Also, if we have considered 2 to 3 examples, in that example we come to know that after fourth variable, the method is ineffective to provide, or it will be more complicated for the calculation purpose. Okay, and they will not provide the actual functionality of equation. Okay, and for that purpose we have to consider the second dimensional analysis methodology, that is nothing but Buckingham Pi theorem. So according to the Buckingham Pi theorem, we we get the number of dimensionless terms or dimensionless numbers in that particular phenomena. Okay, so consider that one phenomena, that force applied force, which is given as force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so how many variables are included in that particular phenomenon? So force is the first variable, mass is the second variable, and acceleration is the third variable. So these 3 variables are there. Okay, so total number of variables we can consider in the force phenomena as the 3 variables. Okay, force is equal to mass into acceleration according to the Newton's second law of momentum. Okay, so in a similar fashion, in a Buckingham Pi theorem, we are going to consider that in any physical phenomena there are n number of variables. In generalized, we are making this statement that there are n number of variables. Out of that, some are dependent variables, some are independent variables. So let us consider once again force is equal to mass into acceleration equation. Okay, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So in that particular equation, force is depend on mass and acceleration. Okay, force is depend on mass and acceleration. So force parameter or a force variable is considered to be a dependent variable. Okay, which depends on mass and acceleration. And whereas mass and acceleration we have to consider as independent variable. Okay, mass and acceleration we have to consider as independent variable. So in a similar fashion, the Buckingham Pi statement is mentioned over here. If there are n variable, okay, if there are n variable, independent and dependent, okay, addition of both the parameter, that is dependent also and independent also. So if there are n variables in a physical phenomenon, and if these variables contain m fundamental dimensions, okay, so how many fundamental dimensions are included in that physical phenomenon? We know that we have considered the 4 fundamental dimensions, that is nothing but mass, length, time, and temperature. These are the four fundamental dimensions. Out of that 4 fundamental dimensions, how many fundamental dimensions are included in that physical phenomenon? That we need to consider. Okay, and we have to equate that fundamental dimensions to m. If any of the physical phenomena the 2 fundamental dimensions are included, then we have to consider m is equal to 2. Okay, m is what? Number of fundamental dimensions. If any phenomenon 3 fundamental dimensions are equal, that particular phenomena contains 3 fundamental dimensions, consider m, l, t, only fundamental dimensions are included in that physical phenomena, then we have to consider m is equal to 3. So if any phenomena contains 4 fundamental dimensions, then we have to consider m is equal to 4. Then in such a fashion, n is equal to number of variables and m is equal to fundamental dimensions which are included in that particular phenomena. Then variables are arranged into n minus m dimensionless term. Then variables can be arranged into n minus m. N is what? Number of variables, which is inclusive of independent and dependent variables. And what is meant by m? M is nothing but number of fundamental dimensions included in that particular phenomenon. So subtraction of n minus m will provide you number of a dimensionless term, okay, present in that particular physical phenomenon. Number of dimensionless term present in that particular physical phenomenon, okay, and each dimensionless term will be treated as the pi term. Each dimensionless term will be treated as pi term. Okay, getting everyone? Each dimensionless term will be treated as pi term. Okay, so write down Buckingham pi theorem. Buckingham pi theorem. Buckingham pi theorem. Buckingham pi theorem. Write down the statement. Write down the statement. If there are n variables, if there are n variables in bracket, independent and dependent variables, bracket complete, in a physical phenomenon, in a physical phenomenon, and if these variable contains, and if these variables contains m fundamental dimensions, and if these variables contains m fundamental dimensions, and if these variables contains m fundamental dimensions in bracket m comma l comma t comma theta. So out of this you can choose any two fundamental dimension, any three, any four. Okay, so how many fundamental dimensions included in that particular physical phenomenon? So that is nothing but m. Okay, if these variables contains m fundamental dimensions out of mlt theta, then variables are arranged into n minus m dimensionless terms, and each term is called as a pi term, Getting everyone? Okay, each term is called as a pi term. Full stop. Now we are going to consider that x1, x2, x3 up to xn. Okay, we don't know the how many number of variables. In generalized, we are writing this particular derivation. Okay, let us consider there are x suffix n number of variables are included in a particular physical phenomena. Okay, so we are counting that number of variables from x1. Okay, so x1 to x suffix n. So that much number of variables are included in that particular physical phenomenon. Okay, so out of that we are going to consider that x1 is a dependent variable. Okay, which is depend on another variable. X1 is a dependent variable, as we have discussed in the equation of a force is equal to mass into acceleration. Force is a dependent variable on a mass and acceleration. In a similar fashion, here we are going to consider that x1 is a dependent variable and x2, x3 and remaining up to xn are the independent variable. So on this particular remaining variable from x2 to xn, x1 is dependent. Okay, from remaining out of all the variable, x1 is a dependent variable, and on x1 is depends on x2 to xn. Okay, so let x1 be a dependent variable and x2 to xn are the independent variables on which x1 depends. So mathematically we can write the equation for this particular consideration. We can write the equation as x1 is equal to function of x2 to xn. Okay, x1 is equal to function of x2, x3, x4 up to xn. So that will be the equation number 1. Now we can write this equation as function of x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So that is nothing but what we have considered all the dependent and independent variable. Okay, we have considered all the dependent and independent variable as a functionality bracket. Okay, as a functionality bracket. So we'll get that particular equation number 2. Okay, function of x1, x2, x3 up to xn, that will be considered as equation number 2. Now this equation will be a dimensionally equation, dimensionally homogeneous equation, because we have considered all the variables. Okay, dimensionally homogeneous equation means what? The right hand side dimensions are equal to the left hand side dimensions. Okay, and if you consider, if you take the dimensions, if both the dimensions are similar, so force is equal to mass into acceleration, and if you transfer the force on the another side, so the dimensions of a mass and acceleration and force will be cancelled. So in a such a manner we can say that the equation is a dimensionally homogeneous equation. So in a similar fashion, if you transfer this x1 on this functionality bracket, so this dimensions of this particular bracket will be 0, or we can say that there will not be dimension for the bracket. So we can say that this equation is a dimensionally homogeneous equation. Now this equation contains how many number of variables are included in this particular equation? Total number of variables we can consider as a n variables. Okay, in generalized we can consider there are n variables. Okay, from x1 to xn. So there are number of variables are n variable. It contains n variables, and if there are m fundamental dimension. Now let us consider that out of 4 fundamental dimensions, if that particular equation or the physical phenomena contains 3 dimensions, 2 dimensions, so for that particular number of fundamental dimension, in generalized format we can write m fundamental dimension. We don't know how many fundamental dimensions are included, so in general format we can write there are m fundamental dimension. Then our Buckingham theorem tells us that if there are n variables and m fundamental dimension, then we will get number of pi terms which is equal to n minus m. Okay, which is equal to n minus m. Okay, then according to the Buckingham pi theorem, number of pi terms is nothing but the dimensionless term. Okay, pi terms is nothing but the dimensionless term. So number of pi terms will be equal to n minus m. Okay, number of pi terms equal to n minus m. So we'll get the n minus m number of pi terms. So we can write the equation for the pi terms as, hence the equation becomes, for the pi terms we can write the equation as, we can write the equation as function f1 means, once again we are taking the function and we have to segregate these 2 equations. So this is also functionality equation and this is also another functionality equation. Here I want to segregate these 2 equations so that you will not be confused. So for that reason I have provided one suffix to this particular functionality equation for the pi terms. Okay, so pi term functionality equation we will get as a function of pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 up to pi n minus 1. Okay, functionality of pi 1, comma pi 2, comma pi 3 up to pi n minus 1. Now this particular pi terms will contain m plus 1 variable. Okay, how many variables should be there in each pi term? There should be a m plus 1 variable. Okay, m is nothing but what? m is nothing but fundamental dimension. यानी कि इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है, जितने फंडामेंटल डायमेंशंस है उतने ही रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल्स, ओके, यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, उसमें एक ऐड करके उतने नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स एक पाई टर्म में रहेंगे. ओके, एक पाई टर्म में उतने वेरिएबल रहेंगे m+1, वेर m इज द नंबर ऑफ फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन. ओके, नाउ out of that m+1 variable, okay, pi terms contain m repeating variables. Okay, m number of repeating variable, यानी कि जितने फंडामेंटल डायमेंशंस इंक्लूडेड है उस फिजिकल फिनोमेनन में उतने रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल हमें कंसीडर करने पड़ेंगे ईच पाई टर्म में. मतलब इसका मतलब क्या है, रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल मींस व्हाट, वो जो वेरिएबल सेट ऑफ वेरिएबल हम कंसीडर करेंगे वो ईच पाई टर्म में हमें लेना पड़ेगा. ओके, वो ईच पाई टर्म में हमें लेना पड़ेगा. कंसीडर कीजिएगा हमारे 3 पाई टर्म मिले हैं हमें. ओके, n-m इज इक्वल टू 3 मिला है हमें, तो हमारे पाई टर्म्स 3 रहेंगे. तो वो जो रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल हम कंसीडर कर रहे हैं, यानी कि m नंबर ऑफ रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल रहेंगे. सो m मींस व्हाट, फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन. जितने फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन है उतने ही रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल रहेंगे, और वो जो रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल है वो ईच पाई टर्म में आ जाएंगे. ओके, और एक नॉन रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल हमें ईच पाई टर्म में लगाना पड़ेगा. मतलब जितने फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन है उतने तो वेरिएबल ईच पाई टर्म में रहेंगे, उसमें एक और एक वेरिएबल ऐड करना पड़ेगा जो नॉन रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल रहेगा. ओके, जो नॉन रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल रहेगा वो नॉन रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल अलग अलग पाई टर्म के लिए अलग अलग रहेगा. ओके, अलग अलग पाई टर्म के लिए अलग अलग रहेगा. सो वी कैन से दैट हियर m is equal to number of fundamental dimension and which is also equal to number of repeating variable. Okay, number of repeating variable. So ये किस्सा क्या है number of repeating variable का, वो हमें समझना पड़ेगा. और which variable we need to select as a repeating variable, that is also most important concept in Buckingham pi theorem. If you make a mistake while selecting the repeating variable, then your further analysis will be collapsed, or we can say that it will tends to meaningless analysis. Okay, so the selection of a repeating variable is also important part. Okay, so how to select the repeating variable? So selection of a repeating variable, there are some conditions for selecting the repeating variable. So we are going to discuss about the conditions of a repeating variable. Okay, so selection of a repeating variable. So as far as possible, dependent variable should not be selected as a repeating variable. Okay, जो dependent variable है जितना possible हो वो repeating variable हमें consider नहीं करना चाहिए. Okay, जो dependable variable है वो repeating variable consider नहीं करना चाहिए पाई टर्म में. ये एक कंडीशन है. As far as possible, करना ही नहीं चाहिए ऐसी बात नहीं, जब तक पॉसिबल है आपके लिए तब तक आप उस डिपेंडेबल वेरिएबल को कंसीडर ना कीजिएगा एज अ रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल. ओके, देन सेकंड कंडीशन क्या है, रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल शुड बी सिलेक्टेड इन सच अ वे दैट वन वेरिएबल कंटेन ज्योमेट्रिक प्रॉपर्टी. ओके, वन वेरिएबल कंटेन ज्योमेट्रिक प्रॉपर्टी मतलब जो रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल आप सिलेक्ट करने जा रहे हैं उसमें से एक ज्योमेट्रिक प्रॉपर्टी रहनी चाहिए. व्हाट इज मीन बाय ज्योमेट्रिक प्रॉपर्टी? ज्योमेट्रिक मींस one of the dimension of that particular object. Okay, so dimensions of that particular object means length, diameter, height. Out of that you can select one as a repeating variable, one as a repeating variable. Then other variable contains flow property. Okay, other variable should be contain flow property. Flow property means what? Flow क्या mention करता है? Velocity, acceleration. ये flow की properties है. सो दूसरा जब भी वेरिएबल आप सिलेक्ट करने जाओगे तो वेलोसिटी, एक्सेलरेशन, इसमें से कोई तो एक आप सिलेक्ट करना चाहिए. ओके, देन थर्ड प्रॉपर्टी वेरिएबल कंटेन फ्लूइड प्रॉपर्टी. थर्ड वेरिएबल शुड बी कंटेन अ फ्लूइड प्रॉपर्टी. सो डेंसिटी, विस्कोसिटी, डायनामिक विस्कोसिटी, काइनेमेटिक विस्कोसिटी, स्पेसिफिक हीट, these are nothing but the fluid properties. So if these properties are included in the physical phenomena, then you have to select that physical property as a repeating variable. Okay, then next important thing is no two repeating variables should have the same dimension. This is also important. Means what? Dimension means what? If you are going to select the length, okay, and diameter as a repeating variable. Then length and diameter both are having the same dimensions, so that while selecting the repeating variable, you have to be concerned about the dimension. Okay, you should know the dimension of each and every variable, so that you will come to know that the repeating variables does not have same dimensions. Okay, so here the statement is no two repeating variables should have the same dimensions. Then next one is the repeating variable must not form the non-dimensional parameter among themselves. What it means? जब हम repeating variable select करेंगे, तो वो मल्टीप्लीकेशन करने, उसका मल्टीप्लीकेशन किया और डिवाइडेशन किया, कुछ भी किया, कौन सा भी ऑपरेशन उस रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल के डायमेंशन पर किया, तो वो उसके डायमेंशन, सबके डायमेंशन मिला के 0 डायमेंशन नहीं आने चाहिए. ओके, इसका ये मीनिंग है. कुछ भी ऑपरेशन आप उस रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल पर कीजिएगा, मल्टीप्लिकेशन का कीजिएगा, नहीं तो डिवाइडेशन का कीजिएगा, वो ऑपरेशन करने के बाद आपकी आपके मतलब वो सब वेरिएबल कंबाइन करने के बाद आपके डायमेंशंस 0 नहीं मिलने चाहिए. ओके, सो व्हाट इट मींस, द रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल must not form the non-dimensional parameter among themselves. Okay, non-dimensional or dimensionless number should not be formed by the selected repeating variable. Okay, then repeating variable must contain jointly all the fundamental dimension involved in a physical phenomenon. Okay, जितने हमने इनिशियली हमने बोला है कि m नंबर ऑफ फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन रहेंगे एक फिजिकल फिनोमेनन में, वो सब फंडामेंटल डायमेंशन रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल में आने चाहिए. ओके, वो सब फंडामेंटल डायमेंशंस रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल्स में आने चाहिए. ये इसका मीनिंग है. सो वी हैव टू कंसीडर दिस ऑल द restriction or the limits for the selection of a repeating variable, and then only it will be easy to proceed for the dimensional analysis. Okay, proceed for the successful dimensional analysis. We can say that successful dimension analysis. If you want to determine the successful dimensional analysis of physical phenomena, then we have to consider this all 7 rules while doing the dimensional analysis and while selecting the repeating variables. Okay, so out of above n number of variables, you come to know that there are 3 repeating variables. Okay, we have selected 3 repeating variables. So let in above case x2, x3, x4 are the repeating variables, and if the fundamental dimensions are 3. Okay, number of repeating variables कितने होते हैं, जितने फंडामेंटल डायमेंशंस होते हैं. सो कंसीडर कीजिएगा हमने जो ऊपर एग्जांपल लिया है, नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स आर इक्वल टू xn फ्रॉम x1 टू x सफिक्स n. सो उस फिजिकल फिनोमेनन में समझ लीजिएगा कि हमें 3 फंडामेंटल डायमेंशंस मिल गए, तो हमने सिलेक्ट किया 3 रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल को हमने सिलेक्ट किया. सो लेट अस कंसीडर दैट पर्टिकुलर रिपीटिंग वेरिएबल्स आर x2, x3, x4. Okay, then we have to consider that each pi term should contain m plus 1 variable. Okay, each pi term should contain m plus 1 variable. So we can write the pi terms as, okay, we can write the pi terms as, let us consider pi1. Okay, pi1. So x2, x3, x4 are the repeating variables, so we will get that particular variable on each and every pi term. Okay, so x2, we can write the pi1 as x2 raised to a1 multiply by x3 raised to b1 multiply by x4 raised to c1 multiply by x1. Okay, so m number of a repeating variable. Each pi term contains m plus 1 variable. It means m number of repeating variables and 1 non-repeating variable. Okay, 1 non-repeating variable. So this particular pi1 term contains m plus 1 variable, where m is equal to number of repeating variable and 1 is equal to non-repeating variable. So we have considered this particular 3 non-repeating variables and 1 non-repeating variable. Okay, now we have to provide the arbitrary values to its rest factor, that is nothing but x2 raised to a1 multiply by x3 raised to b1 multiply by x4 raised to c1. So similar fashion we can write the pi2 term as with the repeating and non-repeating variable as x2 raised to a2 multiply by x3 raised to b2 multiply by x4 raised to c2 multiply by x5. Okay, where x1 x5 up to xn are the non-repeating variables and x2 x3 x4 are the repeating variable, and whatever you can see in the rest factor, these are the arbitrary constants, and that constants or the values of arbitrary constants we have to determine. So we can write this up to pi n minus 1 because we know that each physical phenomena contains n minus m pi terms. Okay, so our last pi term will be nothing but pi suffix n minus m, which will be equal to x2 raised to a raised to n minus m multiply by x3 raised to b suffix n minus m multiply by x4 raised to c suffix n minus m multiply by xn. Okay, multiply by xn. That will be equation number 4. Now from this particular equation, we have to consider this particular equation as a, we have to apply the homogeneity equation for this particular pi terms. Okay, so pi terms are already we have to consider as a dimensionless term. So these are the having the dimensions of m raised to 0, l raised to 0, t raised to 0, theta raised to 0. Okay, and by equating all the dimensions of all the variables in that particular pi term, okay, we have to determine this particular arbitrary constants a1 b1 c1. Okay, we have to evaluate this particular arbitrary constant for each pi term. We have to evaluate the arbitrary constant for each pi term. Here a1 comma b1 comma a2 b2, so whatever the arbitrary constants are there are the arbitrary powers which are determined by dimensional homogeneity. Okay, by dimensional homogeneity, that is nothing but what, by comparing the right hand dimensions with the left hand dimensions. So we have to determine this particular arbitrary powers. Now these values are substituted in equation number 4 and values of pi terms are obtained. Now once you determine the this all the values a1 b1 c1 a2 b2 c2, then once again we have to replace these arbitrary powers in equation number 4, this particular equation, and we have to determine the pi terms. And once you can once you obtain this particular pi terms, then you can write the functionality equation for the pi terms as function of, as we have considered the equation number 3 as f1 inside the bracket pi 1 pi 2 pi 3 up to pi n minus 1. Okay, so this will be the finalized generalized final generalized equation, and further you can write one of the pi term as a function of another remaining pi term. Okay, you can write one of the pi term as a function of a remaining pi term. Okay, so you can consider we have written this particular equation, so out of that if you take the pi 1 term and you can write the equation, this particular pi 1 term is a cyclic function of a pi 2 pi 3 up to pi n minus 1, or you can take pi 2 as a function of remaining pi terms. So pi 2 is a function of pi 1 pi 3 up to pi n minus 1. So once you get the pi terms, you can write this particular equation and you can express the one of the pi terms in the form of a function of another remaining pi terms. Okay, one of the pi terms is the form of a remaining pi terms, function of a remaining pi terms. Okay, so is there any question, any doubt? So this is the methodology to apply the Buckingham pi theorem, to apply the Buckingham pi theorem. Okay, so you can write now, you can write now. Is there any doubt, any question up till now? If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask immediately. Okay, let, write down, let x1 comma x1 comma x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n, up to x suffix n x1 comma x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n, up to x suffix n are the variables are the variables are the variables are the variables involved in a physical problem in a physical problem in a physical problem full stop in a physical problem full stop. Let 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 x1 be dependent variable. Let x1 be dependent variable. Let x1 be dependent variable and and x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n. Let x1 be dependent variable and x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n are independent variables are independent variables on which x1 depends on which x1 depends. Full stop. Mathematically you can write x1 is equal to, or x1 is a function of x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n. X1 is a function of x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n. Further, we can write the combined equation for the physical phenomena as a function of x1 comma x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n. Function of x1 comma x2 comma x3 up to x suffix n. That will be the equation number 2. That will be the equation number 2. That will be equation number 2. Then write down equation 2 is dimensionally homogeneous equation. Equation 2 is dimensionally homogeneous equation. Equation 2 is dimensionally homogeneous equation. Full stop. It contains n variables, n number of variables. It contains n number of variables. And if there are m fundamental dimensions, then according to Buckingham Pi theorem, number of pi terms, number of pi terms is equal to n minus m. Number of pi terms is equal to n minus m. Number of pi terms equal to n minus m. Hence equation becomes so f1, that is once again a functionality equation for the pi term, as function of pi 1, pi 2, comma pi 3 up to pi n minus m. Okay, function of pi 1, comma pi 2, comma pi 3 up to pi n minus 1. Yeah, n minus m. That we have to provide the equation number 3. That will be the equation number 3. Then each pi terms contains m plus 1 variables. Each pi term contains m plus 1 variables. Each pi term contains m plus 1 variables. Each pi term contains m plus 1 variables. Then you can write each pi term contains m number of repeating variables. Each pi term contains m number of repeating variables. Each pi term contains m number of repeating variables. So that we can say that here, 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 m is equal to number of fundamental dimensions. M is equal to number of fundamental dimensions, which is equal to number of repeating variables, which is equal to number of repeating variables. Now we have to select the repeating variables. Okay, we have to select the repeating variable. So for that purpose, we have to follow some rules for the selection of repeating variables. So these rules are we have listed over here. We can write one by one. So rule number 1 is as far as possible selection of repeating variables. Rules for the selection of repeating variable. First one is as far as possible, dependent variable should not be selected. Dependent variable should not be selected as repeating variable. Dependent variable should not be selected as repeating variable. Dependent variable should not be selected as a repeating variable. So this is our first rule. Second one is repeating variable should be selected in a such a way that one variable contain geometric property. One variable contain geometric property. Repeating variable should be selected in such a way that one variable contain geometric property. So geometric property means length, diameter, height. These are the geometric properties. One variable contain geometric property, that is length, diameter, height. Third one is other variable, that is nothing but second number variable. Other variable contains flow property. Other variable contain flow property. Other variable contain flow property. Example, velocity, acceleration. These are the flow properties. Velocity, acceleration. Then fourth one is third variable contain fluid property. Third variable contain fluid property. Third variable contain fluid property. Example, density, viscosity, etc. Third variable contain fluid property. Example, density, viscosity, etc. Then next rule is no two repeating variables. No two repeating variables should have the same dimension. No two repeating variable should have the same dimensions. No two repeating variables should have the same dimensions. No two repeating variables should have the same dimension. Next rule is the repeating variable must not form the non-dimensional parameter among themselves. The repeating variable must not form the non-dimensional parameter among themselves. The repeating variable must not form the non-dimensional parameter among themselves. And the seventh one, that is last rule, is repeating variables must contains repeating variables must contains jointly all the fundamental dimensions involved in a phenomenon. Repeating variable must contain jointly all the fundamental dimensions involved in phenomenon Okay, so these are the 7 rules we have to follow while selecting the repeating variable. Now in above case next line write down, let in above case x2 comma x3 comma x4 let in above case x2 comma x3 comma x4 are the repeating variables if the fundamental dimensions are 3. Let in above case x2 comma x3 comma x4 are the repeating variables if the fundamental dimensions are 3. If the fundamental dimensions are 3, then each pi term contain m plus 1 variables. Then each pi term contains m plus 1 variables, and these pi terms can be written as pi 1 is equal to x2 raised to a1 multiplied by x3 raised to b1 multiplied by x4 raised to c1 multiplied by x1. Multiply by x1. Then pi 2 is equal to x2 raised to a2 multiply by x3 raised to b2 multiply by x4 raised to c2 multiply by x5. So in such a manner we can write the pi terms up to pi n minus m. Okay, how many what is the value you are getting from that particular physical phenomena for n minus m, that much pi terms we can write. Okay, so final pi term will be pi suffix n minus m will be equal to a2 raised to n minus m will be equal to a2 raised to x2 raised to a suffix n minus m multiply by x3 raised to b suffix n minus m multiply by x4 raised to n minus m c suffix n minus m x4 raised to c suffix n minus m multiply by xn. Okay, multiply by xn, x suffix n. Okay, so complete equation give equation number 4, where a1 comma b1 c1 a2 b2 etc. all the powers x1 b1 a1 b1 c1 a2 b2 c2 up to x a suffix n minus m b suffix n minus m c suffix n minus m are arbitrary powers which are determined are arbitrary powers which are determined by dimensional homogeneity, which are determined by dimensional homogeneity, which are determined by dimensional homogeneity. Now once we have determined the arbitrary powers, then these values are substituted in equation 4. These values are substituted in equation 4 and values of pi terms are obtained. These values are substituted in equation 4 and values of pi terms are obtained. Values of pi terms are obtained. Full stop. These values of pi terms substituted in equation 3. These values of pi terms are substituted in equation 3. So equation 3 is functionality equation for the pi term. So function of pi 1 comma pi 2 comma pi 3 up to pi n minus m. Okay. Now in the generalized format, then final generalized equation, then final general equation for the phenomenon, then final general equation for the phenomenon may then obtained by expressing by expressing by expressing any of pi term any of pi term any of pi term as a function of others as a function of others as a function of others. Okay, so we can express as pi 1 is a function of remaining pi terms. So we can say that pi 1 is equal to cyclic function of pi 2 comma pi 3 up to pi n minus m. And we can express also pi 2 as a function of remaining pi terms. So or we can express as pi 2 is equal to cyclic function of pi 1 comma pi 3 up to pi n minus m. Pi 1 comma pi 3 up to pi n minus m. Okay. So this is about the description of Buckingham pi theorem. Okay. So if you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood? So remaining part, if you have not understood anything from the explanation part, once we will discuss the example or the problem on this particular Buckingham pi theorem, then you will come to know how to consider this particular pi terms, how to consider the repeating variables, how to apply the rules of repeating variable, what is meant by n, what is meant by m, then what is how many pi terms will be included. So that all the detailed discussion we are going to consider in example on this particular pi term. Okay, we'll consider one example, then we are going to apply this Buckingham pi theorem for the analysis of forced convection and also for the analysis of free convection. Okay, so initially you have to understand this particular concept, then it will be easy to determine the analysis. Okay, so we are going to discuss this particular example in the next lecture. That is, the resistance R experienced by a partially submerged body depends upon the velocity v, length L, viscosity of a fluid mu, density of a fluid rho, and gravitational acceleration g. Now here we have to find out the pi terms and the dimensionless numbers out of this particular statement, and then we have to write the final equation in this particular format or in this particular format. Okay, so that we are going to discuss in the next lecture. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask, or else you just put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave the meeting. remaining student, just put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave the meeting, or else I will kick it out you from the meeting.